Hey, it's Emily Reagan. I teach virtual assistants how to become highly prized, highly paid marketing assistants. I'm all about up-leveling your skills and knowledge in this digital marketing space. So today I have a special guest, a Frenchie Ferenczi here to teach us about the 5 core functions of marketing. This is a full podcast over on Unicorns Unite. Go use the link below and you can listen to the full episode, and make sure you check out the description for more freebies and links to Frenchie's World. And if you like this episode and you want to see more videos to help you with your marketing services so you can charge more and offer bigger marketing packages to your clients, go ahead and hit subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay, why I brought you on the show is you're here to talk about the 5 core functions of marketing. Why are we bringing this up here? Why are we doing this on my podcast today?
I'm coming onto this podcast really with the belief that you are working with incredible people and impacting incredible people who understand marketing as a whole, right? But what I've kind of seen time and time again is that we tend to think about marketing as one big bucket rather than actually doubling down and getting a little bit more specific about the different phases and stages of marketing. And so that's where the 5 core functions really come in. So when I'm talking about the 5 core functions of marketing, I'm talking about lead generation, nurturing, conversion, delivery, and retention or upsell. And the reason that I think this is so important is because when most people are thinking about marketing, they're like, I'm putting Instagram posts out there and I want to sell. And they're connecting dots between two things that might not actually be as connected as they think. When we double click and get into the 5 core functions, what we can actually start to say is maybe your Instagram post is a lead generation effort. But if you're not nurturing, you're not going to be able to necessarily convert those folks. And as a digital marketing assistant, if you can really start to think about different efforts and actions that drive the numbers in each segment, then you can really stand out in the work that you do because you are keeping your whoever has hired you, whoever you're supporting, really focused on the goal and helping them feel clear on what work you're doing and why. And then you can also protect your own space and boundaries because rather than being the digital marketing assistant who's doing random stuff all the time, you're like, hey, listen, you mentioned to me that you are really focused on lead generation right now. Right now, what I've observed is that I'm spending a lot of my time on efforts that are more delivery focused, which is fine if that's what makes sense for you. But I just wanted to identify that and name that for you so that you can actually make a choice here and a decision here on, is my time and energy best spent for you on delivery or on lead generation? The more specific you can get, I find the more people are able to hear you. And then as a result, the more impact you can actually have directly on your people. So I think that if you really also want to flip it on its head, one thing you can do is think about in your own skill set as a DMA, which area and which core function do you really want to be known for and stand out as? Because then you can lead with that and you can proactively manage expectations from your clients rather than being like, I do your marketing and they can apply whatever kind of ideas they have on that.
Yeah, what's coming to mind for me is thinking about that delivery piece because I always see that as completely separate. That you would not hire a community manager and have someone nurturing your paid community and then also doing lead gen. It doesn't
Right.
really make sense. But yet they do that to us and they expect us to do all of that. So, oh my gosh, I love that. It really makes things very clear for anyone who's kind of struggling with what to do. Is there a combination you think might fit better together?
So I think that there can definitely be that overlap between multiple parts of them. I would say nurturing and conversion go really hand in hand, right? If you've been doing a lot of engagement and that sort of thing, you can really help support on launches and webinars. And if you if you, let's just say you've been in the DMs with someone who shows up at a webinar and you're assisting at the webinar and, you see that person, you can really say hey, good to see you here, or, that sort of thing. So I think that those go hand in hand. I think that the down funnel side can really go hand in hand. So the delivery and the retention piece can go hand in hand because as a or someone who's really in it, you can really foster that relationship with the people. But I think that on the lead generation side, it's what is some of the heavy lifting back end administrative work required, right? So I think that on the lead generation side, I think if you can actually lead with that transparency of you need to know how you want to get your name out there. And then I can help you facilitate that so that you can really focus on expanding your reach, your audience and all that, I think that can be really powerful too.
So you talk about this simple like reframe that can really help us improve our impact on clients. Like, what is it?
So it's this idea of staying close to the money. So the idea of staying close to the money is really thinking about how close or far from potential revenue is the work that I'm doing right now.
Hmm.
So I think what happens with a lot of VAs and kind of more administrative support people is that these business owners get like overwhelmed and then they're like, I need help. And then they have someone who is like, building a sauna or doing all this kind of back end work, which might be valuable, but is not necessarily really driving the bottom line of the business. Whereas, let's just say, if we think about it differently, this person instead could hire someone who's helping them with like pitching and content creation that is like efforts and work that is far closer to building your like visibility, your email list, and potentially helping you drive more sales. So when I think about being close to the money, I think that there's two sides to it. As a business owner, I feel a responsibility to understand like what efforts in my business have actually led to more sales and more results. I think that for our DMAs who are listening, I think you can really powerfully show up for your clients when you say, hey, listen, I've noticed that over the past month, I spent a lot of my time on X, Y, and Z. That is important work, but I've also noticed that it's not really helping you build the bottom line in your business. And my question for you as a business owner is like, do you need my support to drive the bottom line or the top line and help you grow your revenue? Or is this the best use of my time? Right. And it's not really to challenge someone to be like, I'm bored or whatever, but like to your
Yeah.
point, right? You want to also be empowered to have those conversations. And so the reason that I like the stay close to the money framework is because I think about it as like very simply, how can you count the steps between the work that you're doing and the potential revenue associated with it?
As a business owner, talking as the client right now, we're told we need to do all these things. It's
Yeah.
really easy to compare and think we have to do all of them,
Yeah.
overcomplicate it, overbloat, like kill our budget, have all these people when probably half of that doesn't need to be done.
Well, and I think that what you said is a really, really important piece, which is that staying close to the money looks different at different stages of business.
Yes.
I think if we're thinking about different stages of business and where you're at and what staying close to the money might look like, I know a lot of people, like I have a big percentage of my revenue that comes from upsells. I know a lot of people who like don't have follow-up offers for their clients, right? And so that's like another place where people are like so obsessed over lead generation. And I'm like, have you made a second offer to the people who've worked with you? And like what has happened there, right? And so that's another example where it doesn't always like look like what we think it is, but building in upsells can be a really valuable way to not just increase your revenue now, but actually know over time, right? Like my dream scenario is over time. I know that if 100 people join my email list and I nurture them, right? Like I want to be able to predict on the data and evidence that I have, like what they're going to buy and how many of them are going to end up upselling so that I can actually project my revenue.
I was also thinking about, you were talking about retention and delivery. Okay, I
Yeah.
was going to ask you how those are different, but I also see a lot of late links in that follow up, like the very
Yeah.
simple following up inbox, like at a certain level when you start to hire that out, like having someone who is savvy enough not to just do their roll in a bubble, but like think in terms of the next thing. So even posting on social, it's not just posting to social. Like it's
Right.
like taking note of who are the people who are the most engaged. The follow up, like you said, with your upsell, like that's really something most people don't do, right? They get them in the
Yeah.
funnel, they try to nurture them with email, and then boof, gone.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple things that are coming to mind as you're talking.
Okay. Yeah.
One is that to me, the difference between delivery and retention is that delivery is actually like the experience that someone has in your ecosystem after buying from you,
Okay.
right? So they sign up for your course and your program. The delivery is like, what is the onboarding like? Are you delivering on the promise that you make in your marketing, essentially? The retention and upsell is basically, I think of it as like an output of the delivery because you can't upsell someone if they've had a terrible experience working with you. There's always going to be the people who are unhappy, right? That's one thing. And that happens. And for whatever reason, I'm not talking about those people, but right, we want the average 80% of people to at least consider working with you again in some capacity. So that's kind of how I see this. And then it's like, how and when do you pitch them, re-engage them? And all that is really like the retention and upsell strategy that is different than the delivery strategy, which is like, everything from the experience of working with you to the curriculum to,
Mhm.
how supported they feel and so on and so forth.
I was talking about getting like the sales mind in with all of our action.
Oh, okay. So tell me what you think about this because I've had similar moments where I've been like, okay, I have a pipeline of people. There is a way that I could be more high touch with people in my pipeline, whether it's the people who are commenting on my stuff a lot, clicking on my emails a lot, and all that. And I do need to track them. I'm pretty good on like the systems tracking side.
Mhm.
But what I think I'm realizing is that if I want support on that, I need somebody to own it. And I think that I'm like getting my hands a little too dirty. And so I wonder if the same thing is true for you. Is that actually like, yes, some people can kind of just like plug and play because it's like a little bit more narrow and project based. But if someone's like really essentially like a pre-customer relations manager or like assistant, like that's kind of where their time and energy needs to be focused. And like this goes back to the 5 core functions, which means to me that person is a nurturing person. They're not a salesperson, they're a nurturing person. They're the person who's like
Mhm.
keeping track of who you should be talking to, who I should be talking to, whatever. They're keeping track of like where people are. Did they book the call? Did they not book the call? Like, should we have a follow-up conversation with them? Have we not heard from them in 3 months? Is there an opportunity to re-engage? And so I think that maybe if that's a helpful reframe, like thinking about it as like a nurturing person who's like somehow coalescing all these like names and people who you could really help and who could really have an impact on, and like making sure that they are getting that kind of like higher touch communication that they, may need to get in order to become a client.
Okay, you
Yep.
have a really cool freebie for us to help us increase our
Yes.
revenue. Tell everyone what that is.
Absolutely. So it's called Stay Close to the Money, 37 super easy ways to grow your revenue without being salesy. This freebie basically assigns like some different tactics and strategies that you can use in each core function to help you really figure out what to do. Like, what does lead generation activities look like? What do nurturing activities look like? So you can really do that. The double bonus, I think, of this freebie is that actually you can use it for yourself as you're kind of building your own audience, but you can
Mhm.
also use it to support your clients, right? And so as you are thinking about how you show up for your clients, and obviously, your clients will have a job description for you and all of that, but you can also think of ways to really shine and stand out as someone who's like proactively thinking about the client's business and their overall revenue.
Give me a strategy that would be easy for a DMA to bring to her client right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think really thinking about like some way to bring people together is such an easy low hanging fruit way to nurture it. And it can be a webinar, it can be just like an office hours live Q&A session that you can like throw together for like a week out, just some way to really build that deeper relationship and that deeper know, like, and trust with the people who are already in your world. So that's just one example.
Oh, I love that. Hope you enjoyed that. Go check out the full episode over on Unicorns Unite. You can also download Frenchie's 37 Stupid Easy Ways to Increase Your Revenue below. You'll also find links to my free Facebook group and my freebie 10 marketing services that you can start with right now in your freelance digital marketing service business. All right, I'll see you in the next episode.